what are the neoclassical features of the Sinfonia? Well, it's based on a Baroque work, which is the first movement of the trio sonata by Gallo, composed around 1750. It is not an attempt to write something new in a Baroque style. Instead, he has recomposed this old Baroque music. The first thing you notice is that he's used two groups of string players. This is the orchestral group. Oops. Here's back. This is the solo group of string players. That's something that is a Baroque device to contrast a orchestral group of string players with a solo group, but in the Baroque period they would have used two violins, cello and harpsichord for this concertino group, whereas he's used a solo quintet. There is no keyboard, so that's instantly something that's not Baroque, his choice of solo quintet. He's also used two oboes, two bassoons and two horns. All of those instruments were used in the Baroque, so he's sticking to Baroque instrumentation. He's not used clarinets, which are a classical instrument. So he's instantly getting a Baroque feel and a Baroque sound with the contrast of tutti and ensemble, tutti and solo, and the choice of instrumentation. However, there's many things he does which are not Baroque. They're very much 20th century. And I'm going to go through them for you. Basically, abrupt dynamic contrasts, which are comical because it's a comic ballet. He highlights the offbeat with repeated syncopated down bows on double or triple stops. And he uses deliberate un-Baroque dissonances and unsettling shifts of meter. All of these things are neoclassical devices. I'm going to go through and show you examples of those. Okay, so it starts off tutti. Everybody's playing. I'm going to show you some dissonances on the first page. For example, bar 1, cellos and basses, in the second beat, they're playing an F sharp. Solo strings are doubled exactly by the orchestral strings. It's exactly the same music. So this F sharp clashes with the G chord. Everybody else is playing notes of the G chord. The second dissonance on the first page is the last quaver of the first bar, where the horn 2 and the viola play a C against the prevailing G chord. So the last quaver of this bar, horn 2, that's a C by the way, because the horn sounds a fifth lower, and the oboe, no, the viola, the horn 2 and the viola. So what's the viola playing? There. Viola's also playing a C. And the prevailing chord is G. So a C against a G is another clash. There is another clash on this page. It's in bar 3, beats 1 to 2, where violin 2 has an A, which clashes with the G chord again. It's here. So you hear dun da 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 da, clash, dun da da clash, da 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 clash, dun ba 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 da da, and then when it repeats, dun da da da, there is a different thing that the violin 2s are doing. They're playing a triple stop, and at the top of that triple stop is an A. So these notes G and D do fit with the G chord. However, A doesn't. So A is a deliberate dissonance. Okay, so that's some examples of very un-Baroque dissonances. Next thing we're going to look at is another clash on the second page. I hope you can see. Oh, there's the second page. So we've got this lovely tune that the oboe plays up there. You can see that. But the bassoon, that's the oboe part there, the bassoon imitates, and which is all very well, it's a Baroque device imitation. However, the notes that coincide form a tritone, because this is a tenor clef, so that's actually a G, and that's actually a C sharp. So G and C sharp create a lovely dissonance, a tritone. Okay, so the other thing that is un-Baroque about this is the metrical shifts of metre. On page 3, you can see that there's 2/4 and 3/4, which you'd never see shifts like that in Baroque music. He does it to deliberately unsettle the music, sort of trip it up. Now, at other times he does this not by changing time signature, but by adding a bar or a beat to the original music. So I'll show you. Bar 18 is an extra bar. He's added an extra bar to the original tune. So he basically is repeating this idea. He loves this idea. So he just keeps repeating that idea. And at the same time, he's emphasizing, exaggerating the offbeat syncopation by having it on repeated down bows in the second violin, and also on open strings, and also on double stops. So open strings, double stops, repeated down bows, syncopated, all creates a very exaggerated effect, and that's what he's looking for. Okay, there's also an extra beat he adds to a bit of tune, which is just before the recap of the music. It's bar 33, I believe. Oops. Right. No, that's not there. Okay, it's here. So this is the recap, just there. The horn gets the tune. Which is also quite an un-Baroque thing to do, to give the main tune to the horns and have them a little wind sort of ensemble on its own just there, not the recap. But he also omits the anacrusis, and that's because this little section here has an extra beat. See where it says extra? There's that. If I show you the previous bit of tune, it goes so he just adds a little an extra one, and that means that the ending of that phrase overlaps with the beginning of the recap. It's another metrical shift. It sort of creates a tripping up feeling. The other thing he does is he has frequent performance directions. So he's got marked the bowing, he's marked lots of slurs and staccatos. The point of this, the reason he's done this, is because he wants the music to have an exaggerated effect, especially this offbeat syncopation, which he keeps emphasizing, often with the use of octave double stops or open fifth double stops. So there we are. That's pretty much it. Oh, I hadn't talked about the dynamics. Okay, so he uses dynamics effectively as well, particularly the massive contrasts of loud and soft. So An example of that is the bass part in bar 14. Let's see if I can find bar 14 again. Ah, yes. So here, just before the cadence, this is the cadence in D major here, the double bass has accented sforzando, marcato, crescendo, all of this, all these extra performance directions create a really exaggerated heavy effect leading into the cadence, and the cadence goes so dum bum 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 bum, so it's a huge crescendo, and then suddenly subito P, which means suddenly quiet. So that is a deliberate effect, a 20th century neoclassical effect that he's looking for in the ballet, obviously as a comical effect. So he's going really loud towards the cadence and then suddenly quiet. And he does exactly the same at the very end of the Sinfonia. Oops, where are you? There it is. So he has this massive crescendo leading up to the end of the movement. Forte, forte, forte. Everyone's getting loud, and there's suddenly P sub, which is extremely odd. It's not something you normally do, have a sudden quiet right at the end. And he also has a very short note. So he goes da 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 da. So he ends with a sort of very indecisive feeling. And that's definitely a 20th century idea. The end.